So Alabama's Attorney General is now saying he will not prosecute families or providers of IVF, in vitro fertilization, following that state Supreme Court ruling that embryos are children. Now, this also on the same day, as we told you earlier, that former President Donald Trump had called on the state of Alabama to protect IVF treatments. We have a former federal prosecutor in Katie Cherkasky with us here in New York. It's good to see you, Katie. Thank you for coming in. The story is one we've been talking about for a while. This statement from the AG, what do you make of that?
Well, it's very interesting. The issue in Alabama arose from essentially a civil lawsuit in order to allow parents whose embryos had been inadvertently destroyed to move forward with litigation against those firms. But the bigger question is, what is the long-term impact to other people, including IVF clinics and facilities that destroy embryos? Can they be held criminally responsible for essentially murdering children, because that is the practical extension of that. So the statement is that that has not been how the AG is interpreting it, that it was a narrow ruling in a civil case to allow those matters to proceed, but the question had to be asked. Right,
I guess so. We had, it's funny that you say that, I'm glad you did, because we had this exact conversation yesterday, and that point was brought up that this wasn't a criminal case. But I guess it is a natural question. It's like the progression that people have, the same way that many of these clinics had chosen. They didn't have to pause IVF treatments, but they were, I guess, concerned about liability, even if it wasn't in there. It wasn't in the ruling.
Well, absolutely, and they should be concerned, because when you're defining a term under the law, then that definition can be used in other contexts, even in different cases. And so for a civil court to say that the embryos are treated as humans and essentially can be the subject of a wrongful death lawsuit, for instance, then what does that mean on the criminal side? And that's just not clear.
Now, this is live. These are live pictures, I should say, in Rock Hill, South Carolina. The former president in one of these rallies. It's the day before the primary. So as I said earlier, he may dip in and listen to what he has to say. But you know the way these things work. He'll walk around a little bit and greet everybody a little bit. He's walking up now, and oh, there we go, the other side. So, Katie, while we're talking about this or watching the former president, the other story that we had you in to talk about today concerns him as well. Here in New York, we're getting more and more numbers about how much he owes. First of all, the judge denied any request to delay payment in that civil case where he was on the hook, so to speak, for $355 million. But when you add in the interest, it's over $450 million, right? So he's got to pay up here at some point. How soon?
He has to pay up. In terms of the timelines to file an appeal, typically that he has to have that money put up within 30 days. There is a possibility the appellate court can give an extension, because this is a very extenuating circumstance, needless to say. But essentially, there has to be a bond that is secured in that amount for this appeal to move forward.
Right. So there's no other way around it. There's no, you don't have much of a choice. You have to come up with the money, and 30 days is the time frame usually.
Typically, that's the case. But again, there can be extensions granted by the court that would have to be requested by Trump's side. But this is, legally speaking, the path that it has to go down at this point.
Okay, thank you very much. We appreciate that. Katie Cherkasky is with us here in New York. Donald, thanks so much for watching. Just go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.